looks like a podcaster with Sushi Stu.
Cheers, Dan.
Now then, welcome to the Folkscape podcast. I'm Sushi Stu. This is my good mate Josh
How you doing?
Eggleton. Yeah, I'm
Eggleton.
good, thank you, mate. Yeah. So
Where are we?
we're in the Pony, formerly Pony and Trap. Where's the trap gone?
Drop the trap.
What happened
Just
to
the
the
pony
trap?
now.
Okay.
Well,
Any plans to bring back the trap?
no. In a bit of artwork. That's about it.
Okay,
Bit
okay.
of history, bit of heritage.
Sure.
But really, we were the pony and trap. Well, since I started in 2006.
Yeah.
And we completely reinvented ourselves here. So at first I wanted to change the whole name,
Right.
and everyone was like, "You got to be joking, aren't you?" I was like, "Let's just rename it." In hindsight, it's been a bit of a pain in the ass. I'm quite bad at like doing stuff, and then as soon as something's done, I just want to rip it all up and start again. And you can say that with a dish potentially, but I kind of do it with restaurants.
Yeah.
And we're not a restaurant. We are a restaurant. It's very much a restaurant, but we're a cookery school with a market garden. We call ourselves a community centre.
But did it start as just a pub?
Just a pub. Yeah.
That's what it
Just
was.
a pub with a little room here where we're sat right now, which was like a snooker room. We turned that into a restaurant. That was the patio. And now we've built this.
This is insane, isn't it? I mean, I've tried to get this in the camera shot, but like it's massive now. Last time I came, which wasn't even that long ago, this was just essentially like a marquee roof, wasn't it?
It was a stretch tent.
Stretch tent roof.
Yeah, we have walls. We didn't have a roof, so we
Yeah,
put a lovely
showing
roof
off
now.
with his walls.
Yeah. But we need the adaptability. So to make this business work, or to survive in the current climate, we do some corporate work. I've just did a corporate class today in the cookery school.
Nice.
By 10 people all day, team building, cooking, blowtorching mackerel, cooking mussels. We do weddings. We do about 12 weddings a year, and that helps our business model.
Yep.
Once a month on a Tuesday, this place turns into open mic. The local
It's a good space.
yeah, the local arts trail do it. What's it called? Chew Valley Art Trail, obviously. And yoga on a Monday once a month.
What, in here?
Yeah. They all
I
get
think
on the
last
mats.
time I was chatting to you, in fact when I was just here last time, you'd had the previous night your mate's wedding party in here.
Yeah, probably. Oh, I had. Oh yeah, I was a bit. Oh yeah. Yeah.
That was a good one.
That was a good night.
Yeah, so like, because I was down and you do a, well, first of all, he does loads of community stuff, which he does too much stuff, I just can't quite get my head around it.
Yeah.
Every time I come and see him, I'm like going, I'm literally doing nothing here. So he does everything. But let's just take first thing on the 1,000 things that are on the list was the fodder show, wasn't it?
Fodder.
Yeah.
Yeah, fodder's evolving again.
Of course
But
it is,
yeah,
rip it
yeah,
up.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Tell everyone what it was then.
So fodder was, I think when we first started talking when I wanted to talk to you about fodder.
Yeah,
Fodder
'cause-
means food in Old English, and it's sort of
We used to say that one up in Yorkshire.
yeah. It's not fodder. It's not. There's a difference. Fodder is animal feed.
Okay.
Yeah,
Right.
but fodder is like food in Old English.
Is it?
Yeah. Anyway, the idea was I take all my sort of top suppliers.
And me.
And you. And like our local cheese makers, charcuterie makers, yourself, veg suppliers, gin makers, wine merchants.
The gin was great, actually.
Everyone you can
Was
get.
it rum we had tried rum making
and we
guy?
put them in a warehouse,
Yeah.
put them in a coffee roastery. Producers on one side in the roastery, and there's a coffee school as well, Wogan's coffee
Yeah, it was class.
coffee house in Bristol, at the bottom of the M32. And then we put all the drinks producers in the coffee school. And we open that one a little bit later, otherwise everybody gravitates to it.
Yeah.
But and then I invite 150 independent restaurants from the region, so Bristol, Bath, Somerset, South Wales, Cotswolds. Get them in the room. I say to yourself, bring all your wares. We put a massive asado at the back, start a barbecue. The local chicken guy turns up, the butcher turns up with lamb. The fish merchants turn up with turbots. We start cooking all the wares, and then all these chefs and restaurateurs turn up and just get to know each other, get to know the producers, get to know something they didn't know, to incite a conversation. That's the only reason for doing it, to incite a conversation, to learn from each other, and to, I keep saying this all the time now, to enrich our food culture. You know, I'm interested in enriching food culture and enriching community, and we've got the ability to do it and the resources, then we should.
Yeah.
Why
I mean,
not?
it sounds. I mean, you could
And
easily.
that's what we did for the last 3 years, but it's evolving now. But carry on. I'll let you know in a minute.
Well, let me just interject, and then because I'm interested where
Yeah.
it's going, but I reckon that could go on off a massive tangent. So sort of compliment really is like, you know, you could think that people do these things for you know, just to do networking or just to be at the heart of the you know, the thought leader and stuff like that. But you are really big in the community, I think.
Yeah.
You know, and the amount, like I said, the work rate you've got, it's like, oh yeah, we'll just start a new restaurant. Oh yeah, we'll just do a charity. Oh yeah, we'll just do this thing. And just like, okay, now, like listening to you is just like standing in a windsoll of that, you know, of ideas and things just get done. It's amazing, really.
Well, I always say this: it's not a good idea until you've actually done it, right? So
Cash in the bank.
You need to get it done. You need to get it done. Yeah, because I've got plenty of ideas. I'm not sure on those. Getting them done is hard.
That's true. That's
we
true.
still work on all that.
What's Fodder turning into then?
Well, I didn't really tell anyone, but it was always in the back of my head. Like Emma, the general manager here at Pony, helps me organise it.
Yeah.
And after year 3, and I was like, right, we're turning it into a conference now, like, or a symposium. And she was like, what? And I was like, oh yeah, that was always my intention. And she was like,
You just never mentioned
I just never mentioned it. So I was like, I thought I wanted to start this kind of idea and this brand and this getting together of ideas. And the best way to do that is to just initially do it through the narrative of our suppliers and talk about what's immediate to us. But really, as you said, we do a lot of community work and intersect into that quite a lot with hospitality. So Fodder will move from the warehouse to the Quay on Bristol in front of the Arnold Feeney Art Gallery. And we'll do the producers, we call it like a food village or producers village. And we'll do that on the Quay. In
Outside?
A marquee. Yeah, in a marquee outside.
In a marquee, yeah.
And then the art gallery has an auditorium where you can sit 200 people. And we're going to do a conference in there.
Wow.
So it's going to be a series of talks and
like
ideas.
charity tickets and stuff
Yeah,
like that.
some ticketed, some given away. And basically the title is Hospitality and Humanitarianism, and how we connect our hospitality to the humanitarianism work that we do.
Well, they're quite similar, aren't they?
Very, very similar. So that's going to happen in September. We just started programming it now. We've been a bit busy at the start of the year because I had to get the anti-banquet done. That's next week. Pretty much sold out for that now. But the anti-banquet itself, do you know what that is?
I'd like to talk about it because I've heard you talking about it. And I'm like, what's that?
Yeah.
But I haven't drilled down into it until now.
Yeah.
Okay.
But if the anti-banquet produces a surplus in its targets, that will go to funding Fodder. So all these things, Fodder will be run through a community interest company. The anti-banquet is
You're like your own little ecosystem.
Yeah.
In fact, not little. Your ecosystem's ridiculous. You're driving around Bristol and we did this like just before Christmas, didn't we? Was it Christmas? I don't know when it was, whenever we did it. Driving around Bristol and you're like, oh yeah, that's my brewery.
Wow, we own part. We own,
Do you know what I mean?
We own a chunk of the brewery.
Oh, that's cool. So, yeah, that's our chipping.
This one.
I was like, what? Yeah, what's it called?
That's cool. Bristol Beer Factory. Yeah, so we're shareholders in that. I'm a non-executive director.
Yeah.
That's been about 8 years. Fantastic product.
Yeah.
We're just building a new brewery. We're moving off in North Street, so we're just building a £2.5 million state-of-the-art brewery. But that company's doing that. You know, that is separate from our immediate restaurant business.
The stuff that you're involved in is unbelievable.
That's our Blackgate Nitro Stout, and it is delicious.
Oh, really?
Try
Nitro
that.
Stout. Let's have a go. I
Do you like Guinness?
I like natural coffee. I shouldn't really drink Guinness.
It's a Guinness, really. Same style.
Yeah,
Delicious.
it's nice. It is delicious.
It's about the texture.
Yeah, it is about the texture.
Yeah.
Do you like the Guinness at the Devonshire in Soho?
Yeah,
They're the Guinness. They're the Guinness guys, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. Yeah. They sell a lot of
I
Guinness.
tried to get a table there next week.
Did you?
No, table's till September.
No.
Which
Really?
is 6 months away.
Jesus Christ.
Unless it was just me that was telling that you can't have.
Plenty of tables there.
Yeah. It's a little bit far out from
yeah.
Soho though, isn't it? It's a bit of a trek.
I know. Yeah.
Yeah. So, what were we talking about?
Anti-banquet.
Anti-banquet.
We're moving on to it. Well, yeah, so Fodder...
This is going to be a ping
So
pong
Fodder will be...
conversation, isn't it?
I want it to be, a representation of localism through your suppliers. That supply chain we're then exposing on the Quay to the general public happens to be in Bristol. We're not going to be talking necessarily about Bristol. I want it to be like a national thing. We want speakers to be coming from all over the country.
Yeah.
There's inspiration there. I went to Food on the Edge last year in Ireland.
Yeah.
Really inspired by what they did. I think it's absolutely fantastic. And I've always had an ambition of doing something like this. I went to Food on the Edge last year. I've been meaning to go for like 3 or 4 years, but so busy, kept missing it. And was really inspired by that. I would love to go to Mad at Copenhagen. I just applied actually, but I didn't get accepted. I listed all the things that I did, and they said no. But anyway, and they said they had a lot of people. But I'm on the waiting list.
What's MAD stand for?
Food. So again, I was inspired by that with the name Fodder. You know, you have to be inspired by people around you and learn from them. And the way I approach what we do is, especially with the community stuff, I call it, it's almost like called constellation management. I have to do what I do well to inspire others to do it as well. You know, so we cook for the homeless on Christmas Day. We run community interest companies where we're cooking fish and chips in care homes just to put a smile on their face. Now, if we're doing that and trying to be good humans, then hopefully I'm inspiring other people to do the same.
It's inspiring because
and it intersects.
Often it feels, especially at the moment, like everyone's running at 1,000,000 miles an hour just to survive, but yet you seem to be doing all these things for other people. And you know,
because if I can get it done, then I will.
Your business is successful, you know. I mean, I looked at your balance sheet, but they're great, you know. And do you know the good thing about your places is
you can measure
they're
success
accessible
in many different ways. Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, you're surviving. I think that's a big one.
Yeah.
Secondly, you're giving, which is massive. That's
I'm not a hoarder.
That's wealth for that.
You know, gross inequality is going to be the downfall of our society.
Well, you're quite big on this. You're quite big on this conversation, aren't you?
Massive. Nobody believes this.
Go on then, talk to us about what you're thinking about this.
I think about it all the time. You know, I think like, how can we make things more equal? And that's what I'm doing, really, with what I've got. And I'll continue to do that.
Rather than just getting a better car.
Yeah, I'm not interested
or
in cars.
a bigger house.
No, not interested. I'm more interested in fostering my immediate community and letting that spread out. My immediate community are my staff and the people that I work with.
Well, you do attract great people, actually.
Yeah.
You know, I was just speaking to Jim and everything. He's a great guy, but it's like, it's quite infectious the way you are. I'll be honest with you, when you first started talking to me years ago, I was like, I don't know if you can be arsed, I think he's full of shit. She's like, you should come and do this sort of thing. We're doing this. I was like, no, you're not. That's bullshit.
Is that what you did?
Yeah,
you didn't come the first time, did
I know,
you?
because I was like, this is going to be shit, because he's just fucking full of shit. But it's true.
Oh, you're a good judge of character, aren't
But
you?
no, obviously not. Like, but it's quite unusual.
I know.
It's quite unusual, though, because, like, I can't quite put together in my head how you still being successful. You've got these multiple businesses, you're giving back, you're in control, and everyone likes you.
Well, I'm not
Maybe
sure
I'm
everyone
just
likes
jealous.
me. That's definitely not true.
Well, not everyone likes you.
There's definitely a few out there that don't. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But,
Comment down below if you hate Josh.
Yeah. So, it's, at the end of the day, it's about the people and the people that are in our organisations, you know. And every project we put together,
You've got to look after them first, then you go
and I
outwards,
put together a team to say, right, I've got this idea, or somebody else has got. I love it when somebody else has got an idea. I want to do this, and I'm like, yeah, let's do it. We put together a team of people within those organisations that we think can achieve it. Because everyone's like, how are you doing all these things? But it's no different to running a restaurant here or running Salt and Malt. We have a head chef and a general manager, and we have a management team. And the Anti-Banquet and Fodder, they all have management teams to make those things happen.
But in an era where wages are going up, and an era where costs are getting squeezed,
oh, we know.
You're very, very high.
It's not April yet.
You know, it's not April yet, but everything gets cut in April.
Yeah.
But we're in a time of automation where people are going to get laid off, and like it feels like you're going the other way. How are you squaring that circle? Because that's what everyone's going to be thinking. They're like going, it's all well and good, but how I haven't got any resource. Everyone's working 80 hours because they've got no time.
Yeah, I know.
But I don't know, it just seems to work for you.
It's tough. It's a tough balance, isn't it? And we've got some things that are really successful, and we've got other things that are not so successful, and you have to work on them really, really hard and keep your eye on it all the time. And then, you know, if some things don't work, you need to take action.
I think that your people must be like giving, not just as in working hard and turning up early and fucking breaking their backs.
No,
they're all in.
Yeah, they've got to be all in, but also it should be said that, like, for years, you know, like years ago when everyone was years ago when everyone said, oh, we're going to a 4-day week, and it was like, all chefs, all these fine dining restaurants, 2 Michelin star restaurants are going to a 4-day week, and I'm like, and they made a big song and dance about it for PR, to be honest, because it worked. Yeah. Well, when that happened, I was like, I did that 10 years ago, right? You know, moving on again, we're like 3.5 days a week now, our chefs. They work 48 hours. And if they work any more than that, they get paid overtime. So what does that mean?
It's almost like a normal job, isn't it?
Yeah, but that means that my chefs stay with me.
Yeah.
And if you ask them to do overtime, they've got the energy to do it and that they care and they're not exhausted.
I think there's a level of quality that you lose when you're burning people out.
100%.
And there's a lot of people stood around doing nothing, not because they're not hard working, but because their fucking brain's fried.
Completely. I mean, my brain is always fried by about 7 o'clock because I've got so many things going on. But
Yeah, have you seen one of these people who can juggle like 20 balls?
Yeah, it's
That's
not
what I imagine you've got in your
can't do
brain,
it.
but it's a little mouse on a unicycle.
yeah, I don't know. yeah. So,
the anti-banquet, what is it?
the
Tell me,
anti-banquet.
tell
Right,
me.
so the anti-banquet, because we touched on it, in its purest form, is a form of equality, right? So
What do you mean it's a form of equality? Is it
it's
a banquet?
It's an
in its purest
expression.
form?
No, the idea is an expression of equality. That's how.
Okay.
That's my opening gambit.
Yes.
All right, I get more serious now. Right, so more serious. That is the serious bit. What it is it is a charity banquet to raise money. The money that we raise, we put back into Bristol, into grassroots organisations in the city. Last year we funded 22. Charities and donated money to them. We raised 117,000. Okay, so
Wow.
But the concept before we raise that money is that I go out to local business. So let's take Yo Valley for example, because they're just down the road. And I go to Tim Mead, who owns Yo Valley.
Is that the yogurt?
Yeah, the yogurt guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're just next door. So,
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, and I say, do you want to buy a table at the anti-banquet? And he says, well, because it's you, Josh, I'll buy a table. Fantastic. And then
Yeah.
I said, the light in the fire.
Light in the fire.
So I say
Let's
to
get the vibes going
So then I
first.
say to him, that's fantastic. You need to invite your workforce and your staff, people in your business that you're really pleased with that don't normally get to go to one of these fancy banquets.
Okay.
I've been to
So
one.
it's not just a big corporate
no,
loving.
no, it's the opposite,
It's the opposite
of that.
Is that
So
where the
I-
anti-banquet name comes from?
Exactly. So I say to Tim Mead, the owner of Yo Valley, or the CEO of a business, or the MD of a business, I say,
Don't bring the FD, don't bring all those guys.
no, they're not even allowed to come. They have to come and work. So the business
come and work?
Yeah, so the business owners work and bust the tables and serve their staff, their workforce, because these people who work in their businesses have never been able to go to a lovely banquet where we have circus performers and local Bristol DJs and bands and delicious food, because all of these CEOs and owners, and someone like myself, if somebody says, would you want to come to a charity banquet, put black bow tie on? I'm like,
Yes.
no, fucking don't know, do I fuck?
Yeah.
And most of the time I get a bit fed up with cooking them as well. If it's for a good cause, then I will. So I decided to just take the whole thing, turn it on its head.
Yeah,
So
that's
everybody
cool.
that's there wants to be there. They have a fantastic time. And we also raise over £100,000 to go to.
And I bet all the guys
Bristol
who are working
community.
there think it's a laugh.
They
You
love
know,
it.
like the bosses.
And all the bosses get together and have a great time, and they're busting the table. Mind you, they're knackered. They're like, oh, my hands hurt. I'm carrying plates on. I've been on my feet for hours. They're hurting. You're like, oh my god. So
Yeah, mate.
yeah. And they're like, I can't believe how hard
Don't
it
worry,
is.
you're still getting paid 200
Yeah.
grand.
I've got to wash up 1,000 plates. I'm like, yeah. Actually, it's 700 covers. Yeah.
Did you know in history that the king used to one day a year get completely put outside of the castle and everyone ridiculed him? That was part of.
No.
That was
Hold
part.
on,
Not
what-
English. But in the days
What
of like
culture was this?
our culture.
culture?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
So
right.
I mean, like ancient King Arthur times. So they used to sort of like, and that's what.
King Arthur? He's not real.
No, King Arthur. I don't know. I don't know the numbers.
Yeah,
You're
yeah,
gonna have to Google this, guys.
okay.
You know,
Are
get
we talking about the
ChatGPT.
Tudors or the Stuarts?
Well, I'm the Stuarts.
Yeah, yeah.
All of them. So no, anyway. So the concept of it is, and obviously I'm paraphrasing, was that they flip it on its head, and that balances out the power. So what they do is they speak truth to power. They tell him everything that's shit, and they ridicule him for a day, and everyone's allowed to get out of the system to purge it.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
essentially, the court jester was that. So the court jester was allowed to be there when they're having discussions and call out the elephants in the room. That's what they were for. So if they were having a conversation with like another royal family, he's a comedian, basically. Their job was to call out the truth, which
Yeah.
is kind of what a comedian is now.
100%.
That's
A comedian lays it raw.
But that's what a court jester was, and that's where you get the checks and balances on power. Is like going, if you're running away with yourself, you need someone to come in and go like, hey up.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
You're getting paid 200 grand, and you're not washing 1,000 dishes.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's kind of like a historical thing in that respect.
So anyway, the second anti-banquet's next week.
Oh right, okay, well.
Yeah. I should have told you to, but no, it's a local thing.
I'd work. I'm not boss enough to work it. I've got a 700 plate limit.
Some people kind of say, "Oh no, I can't buy a table." So, but come and give you a hand. I'm like, no, you can't. You have to buy a table and then you have to work.
Yeah.
And then some people are like, what? You have to get it. You have to have understand the concept. And you know what? There are a lot of people out there going, no, you're right, thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fine.
That's fine. But everybody in that room gets it and they understand it and it's full of positivity. And that's really important. Yeah.
Because the basic premise is that it's a bit funny and a bit weird, which is going to give a little bit of spice to the night. So it's basically going to create a bit of a good vibe.
Yeah, it creates a vibe, creates a narrative. We talk about it.
Yeah. And the food's going to be a little bit secondary to the experience, isn't it?
100%.
But the food's great. I mean, the good thing about, I think, what you do
what we're doing?
is you don't pitch everything at like an unaffordable price. I mean, everyone loves caviar. Everyone loves, well, not everyone, but a lot of people, you can put caviar, you can put foie gras, you can put truffles on everything. But I think your businesses, they pitch it at different levels.
Yeah, we intersect with multiple different
But whatever
levels.
level you do is class. Like your chip is class, the battered sausage.
Battered sausages.
But like, this is what I love about,
Gareth's favourite battered
yes,
sausage.
it is. So he says. But when I go to Japan, I like what they call BQ gourmet, B quality gourmet. So which is like basically what we used to have with like proper bakers, proper chippies.
Yeah.
And essentially we don't have that anymore because they've all got commercialised.
Yeah, exactly. So if things done simply and done well, I completely agree with you 100%.
It's delicious. We went for that ramen in Tokyo in the train station.
It was so good.
Right, but it was like £8.
Amazing.
That's what we're talking about.
Yeah, I completely agree. And like as things move on, as I get older, I find myself gravitating to that. Like I found a cafe the other day on a high street with some lovely ladies cooking a fried breakfast in there, proper cafe, greasy spoon. But the point is, it wasn't greasy. You went in, they cooked everything properly, really well. It was a £9 breakfast, and I was like, that's amazing. Yeah. I could have gone to some hipster place in a trendy on a trendy high street, paid double, and it wouldn't be very good.
Yeah.
Because
everyone's trying to reinvent the wheel, aren't they?
Yeah.
And I think a lot of your stuff, I mean, again, I only know what I know, but I think what you're doing is rather than reinventing the wheel, you're trying to perfect existing wheels.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Which I like, because you obviously the brewery, you've got the chippy.
We just want to try and do things properly.
Yeah.
And make it consistent.
And I think
making it consistent is the hardest thing. Always, everyone knows.
But everyone's trying to innovate, and I'm guilty of that because obviously we're pushing people to use weird products. So I get it. We're trying to get people to innovate, but I think you've got to do the job properly first.
Yeah. You've got to understand the basics, and then you can.
Because years ago, before I did this job, when I moved back from Australia, I wanted to learn how to do the basics, right? I wanted to learn how to poach an egg. Right?
Yeah.
I didn't know how to poach an egg. I could get a cookbook on fusion Indian food.
Yeah, we can.
I could get a cookbook.
It's my dealia.
Well, yeah, but you don't know what you don't know. Yeah. What I'm saying is, it's not obvious how to do the basics. Internet? This is before the internet, and everything was in black. Everything was in black and white.
Yeah.
Including me.
Come on, that's the dad joke.
But so there wasn't really a way to know the basics, and it wasn't popular. It was always things like how to cook the dishes from Wagamama or whatever.
Yeah.
But you've really got to nail those basics. But how to make amazing mashed potatoes, how to spot what's fresh and what's not fresh, how to know what's in season.
Well,
people don't know
what
that.
you're talking about there is actually quite hard. And we've got cookery school upstairs, and a lot of the classes that I take, you probably touched on something here. Like you're making me think about it, but you're right.
The basics are hard.
Most of the cookery classes that I run are about all the basics. I do something called store cupboard ingredients.
Yeah.
And basically what that is, I say to people, these are like the 5 to 10 things that you probably always need in your store cupboard to cook with. And it's literally like good salt, Cornish sea salt. I'm like the table salt, throw that in the bin or clean your frying pans with it. Do not use it. Pepper, 1 good olive oil, a good rapeseed oil, Lea and Perrins, Tabasco, mustard, and then I'll be like, right, we're going to do vinaigrette, we're going to do salad cream, we're going to dress a salad, and it's just doing the basics. We're going to salt a piece of fish to cure it, or salt a piece of fish before we cook it, or salt a steak, or salt tomatoes, and let the vegetables warm up. And we'll do a whole class based on that.
It sounds
And it's
unexciting when you put it as a tip. You know, the basics. It sounds like, well, I'm a good cook. I don't need to know that. It's like advanced basics.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, but the biggest question is get people like, you get all the oils out, and they're like, what oil did I use? And it is a big question. And then I end up teaching myself as well. Like you end up asking yourself questions. You go, why do we cook in oil? Right? Why do we got oil things? Well, basically, the basic reason is it acts as a medium to transfer heat. Right?
Sure.
So if you were going to put, let's just say, if you put a piece of broccoli in a frying pan, dry, with no oil or fat to transfer that heat, it would just dry out. It wouldn't cook. It would just kind of go crispy and like scorched on the outside. Yeah. It might be for some reason you might want that for some fancy dish, but in the end of the day, if you want to cook a piece of broccoli or stir fry a piece of broccoli or a tender stem, it needs fat to transfer heat. And then you need to understand what fat to use and what fat is healthy.
Carry flavour as well, can't it?
Well, some things are too powerful. You don't cook in extra virgin olive oil.
No.
You probably don't cook. You wouldn't cook a lemon sole in extra virgin rapeseed oil because it would be too overpowering and nutty. You also don't make a vinaigrette with those two oils. You add a little bit to enrich it. You know.
Yeah, so the extra virgin olive oil is more like a flavour or a seasoning itself.
It's really, a finishing oil. It's what I call finishing oil. Just finish things with it. Yes, you could put some
like
extra virgin olive
like
oil in a vinaigrette.
Yep.
You wouldn't make that. I would never make that whole vinaigrette out of that oil. I would always use a neutral oil to give it length. A vinaigrette is to dress something. It's light. It needs length. It's called a dressing for a reason. It means you cover the
Otherwise, you're just tasting dressing.
Yeah, it's too much. Yeah, it's there to season your leaves.
So essentially, your basics is like going, if you've got this, go to the shop, whatever's in season, whatever gets, if you go to the fishmongers, what's in, you'll be able to deal with it.
Yeah, that's it.
Do you know what I've been doing at the moment? Like, I've been using, I'm a big tech guy, I always have been, because obviously my business was like, I love it. My business was like...
that's why you could do this podcast.
Yeah, it's just two phones. In fact, that is my phone. That is my phone, that's my old phone.
I was talking to someone the other day about, just because we got enough time, and I was like, I'm going to do a podcast upstairs, like a Bristol podcast about food and stuff.
Yeah.
And we were talking about it, and someone was like, it's a lot of work, you need a lot of equipment, you need a big rig. But a lot of people say that.
Yeah, you don't want to do that.
And I'm like, I'm looking at this going,
I can fit that in my pocket. Those little stands that, you got to put them, you won't put them in your pocket, but they're, anyway. So,
okay.
Anyway, light is good, isn't it?
Yeah,
Simple and light.
Yeah.
That's what we're saying. That's what we talk about. Anyway, so I like tech. And I don't really like tech. I like the freedom it can deliver you. So basically, I started the business as an e-commerce business because I could code websites and I'm good at sales and I like food. So I could do it quite quickly and I could do it off a laptop on a ski resort. So I built it in halfway down a ski resort on a laptop.
We were on your skis at the same time?
No, I had the backpack with the flipping old steam-powered laptop in it, the CD-ROM drive inside. Yeah. I used to stop and I'd sort of code it myself. But, so I've always been into and that means that, because essentially I was living in Barnsley at the time. Yeah. There's no way I could start a Japanese food importation trading company out of a terraced house in Barnsley. There's barriers to that, isn't there? Yeah. So this tech allowed my company, which is very, very specialised, to start. Yeah. And I think the tech as it comes is going to allow even more obscure things. So all my family either worked in the coal mines or worked in steel mills. Right. All of them. All of them? Yeah, from like my great-grandfather and my grandfather actually onwards. That's all they did. Yeah. Dad's side, all coal miners from sort of like, there's an area where we basically had all the riots, the Thatcher riots and all that, that's where they're from. Orgreave and all that. And my mum's side, they were all like steel workers in Sheffield Steel, because you've got to remember it's ginormous. Sheffield Steel was like the biggest in the world at one point, and now it's nothing. Yeah. But anyway, so I'm like that generation was like, well, what am I going to do? Yeah, exactly. So we use tech. Got to reinvent yourself. Well, now we're flipping Japanese food. Yeah, I know. Like, I was talking about the populace, really, not just you. Well, I'm part of the populace, aren't I? Yeah. Well, so like, well, technically, yeah. And we got things like, guys like Jaro, like converting old mills into fine dining restaurants with hotels. How's that going? It's class, that new place. It looks good. Yeah, we're going to have to go and eat. Yeah. But anyway, so like, you've got the positive side of the way things evolve. You've got to be on top of it. So anyway, the reason I'm mentioning this is because I'm using ChatGPT, the pro version, for cooking on my hobbyist level. Right. So I'm like a pro hobbyist, you know what I mean? So I'm a supplier, I'm not a chef. But I talk to chefs, I eat at a lot of nice restaurants, I've got a good appreciation. You know, you're talking about learning the basics for British people. I think it's really hard for people in Britain to learn the basics because if you're an Italian person, what's in your cupboard? Olive oil, good salt, basil, oregano, blah blah, tomatoes, pasta. It all goes together. If you're in Spain, what's in yours? You might have got olives, you might have got good oils and stuff like that. That's the reality, isn't it?
Yeah.
If you're in Japan, you've probably got miso, you've probably got soy sauce, you've got all these things. If you're in a British home,
what
have you got? You've got Patak's curry paste, you've got one little Kikkoman soy sauce, you've got a Henderson's relish, you haven't got Leighton parents, come on, have a word. You've got a tin of tomatoes, you've got a dolmio, dolmio carbonara sauce, you've got mango chutney, you've got some Thai fish sauce. It's basically a fucking car crash.
Yeah,
and when you look at that, and what can I cook with it?
It's a magpie thing, isn't it? I think a positive thing about our food culture is that we do accept other cultures.
Yeah, but you know, if you're an amateur cook, that's overwhelm right there. So what I've been doing is, and even I get overwhelmed sometimes. My wife certainly does. But so what I did was, what you can do is you get your phone, and if you've got ChatGPT, I don't know if it's the basic one, but the pro version, it's not that expensive. You take a photo of your cupboard and say, what can I make for dinner? And it knows it knows what's in your cupboard. And
I've not got into this yet.
It'll build you a recipe with what's available. And what I've done is I've built a personality in it when I've trained it to know what my level of cooking is. So it'll give me a recipe, but it'll also give me a recipe that if I went to the shops and added some more things to it.
Oh my God.
So like I did like that, and it went, you can do a corned beef hash. I was I love corned beef hash.
I guess I wouldn't really need to do it. I can open your cupboard and just do it.
But that's what a chef does, right? But you're a fucking very successful chef.
Yeah.
But imagine the benefits that's going to give to the people from a basic level and also from a food waste level and a nutrition level.
Well, the nutrition's good.
Probably just going to put like a, you know, because how many times do you know, you're in your exceptions room, we're just talking about normal people. You're not a normal person, are you? Well, they open the cupboard, it's full, but they don't know what to cook.
Yeah, of course.
Freezers are full, but there's nothing to eat, in inverted commas. They go and get a fucking takeaway. They pay Just Eat.
That's so true as well, because I've cooked.
So there's a liberation to this technology.
When we were doing the fundraising for here, I did the fundraising. We did crowdfunding to help get this over the line.
Really?
But yeah, we raised 100,000. But I mean, essentially, we put tickets up. It was a pay it forward scheme, really. So we put tickets up for special dinners here, like fish dinners and steak night, and
so they're like buying tickets for the future
in advance,
and
like cookery classes.
Oh, okay.
The most popular thing that I sold was me going to someone's house to cook. Yeah, so I put 2 of those up. They went in like 5 minutes.
All right.
And I was like, oh, that's good.
It's a good-looking guy.
So I said, so we put the price up and put another 2 up. They went again. And I'm like, all right. So anyway,
maybe you should just close
I ended
the business.
up cooking in like 20 people's houses, but it worked. Anyway, the point is, the fridges were blowing my mind.
Like they were just full of mental shit.
Just full of you turn up and he'd be like, you'd say in advance, can you leave some space in the fridge for me? Like, got to put dessert in it or something. Everything else is fine because you could turn up and you're cooking. You open the fridge, it'd be like, no space. I've never seen so much stuff in people's fridges and the freezers. And I'm like, how are you going to eat all this food before it goes off? It's just not going to happen. They're not.
The food waste
bonkers.
must be insane.
Yeah.
If you take everything out of your fridge and your freezer and you go like, am I really going to eat this? And to do that cleanse and throwing away is not nice because it's that hoarder mentality. And obviously there's a waste. But are you really going to eat it? And like you say, you need that space. But a lot of people aren't good at cooking. A lot of people aren't good at planning. They're not good at shopping. They go to the shop and they see the offers and stuff like that. But honestly, with the AI thing, you can really take it on a notch, even at a level where you're quite good. I was speaking to Tim Allen, and he was telling me about someone he knows. I can't remember where it was. It's a starred place anyway. But they did it with staff dinner. They had to cook the menu, and I don't know, maybe they were like the fish, but they only had to use the fillet or the trim, and then they had trim. And
we just had a good staff dinner.
We did have a good staff dinner. It was mad. It was Duke Kariyama's. How'd you say his surname? I fucking never said it right. I was right. His okonomiyaki mix.
Yeah. He came and cooked.
Made like a ginormous okonomiyaki pancake.
Made a bit too much, so we just had a huge one.
And some roast pork, obviously.
Roast pork.
Yeah, mate, it was delicious. So what was that? Leftovers.
Yeah.
So they did the fish, but basically everything that wasn't used that they got for prep. They prepped all the dinner, they served all the customers, and what wasn't used, they weighed it, This is a little bit advanced because they were doing it as a bit of an experiment. They weighed it and wrote down what it was, put it all in ChatGPT and said, what can we use this for? And it built recipes to feed everybody, and it was delicious.
Amazing.
Fantastic, that. What a great use of technology.
Yeah, absolutely. Technology should be there to help us.
That's right.
Yeah,
it shouldn't be used to dominate everybody else.
Wow.
It should be, well, it can be. It's like a knife, though, isn't it? A knife is one of the most essential tools in human history. But you wouldn't want to flip and fall on one, would you?
No, absolutely not. I always get asked like these things for, well, you know, for like magazines or interviews. They say, "What's your best? Give us your best piece of equipment in a kitchen." And you know, we talked about like going back to simples and basics and going to simple restaurants.
Yeah.
I'm always like, knife.
Yeah.
And they
Tea towel.
and they're kind of like,
I love a tea towel.
they're like, what? What do you mean knife? I'm like, we can't do anything if you don't got a knife. And they're like,
the
give us
best
another one.
thing.
I'm like, chopping board.
A good one that's a bit soft.
What's your favourite ingredient? Salt. And they're like, oh. And I'm like, well,
What's wrong with salt?
Nothing. Salt is the fundamental. But
Oh, salt.
I'm like, what do you want me to say? Like white soy sauce?
Yeah, I want you to say white soy
Yeah,
sauce. Available
But
now at sushistushi.co.uk. But it's right. It's that basics, and I think I identified that problem just because I wanted to sort of get good at stuff. Because when I was living in Australia, I was eating all right food for the first time.
Yeah.
Because I was skint. I'm from fucking Yorkshire, so I was
yeah.
eating note. I was eating beans on toast, and I'm not. I mean, like cheap
Where
beans.
were you in
cheap bread.
Australia? Were you eating kale on your breakfast? That's what they like over there.
A bit of kale. No, there was like spinach.
They put kale on
and stuff like
breakfast
that.
and then say it's like amazing.
They had like green eggs and ham, but that's American, isn't it? Where I was, anyway, it was all about eggs royale, which is like eggs Benedict with smoked salmon and stuff like that.
With hollandaise. I don't like hollandaise for
I
breakfast.
like hollandaise.
Not
It's
for
a bit fattening.
Not for breakfast.
But when you're having
I know, but with a piece of fish.
okay, why not? No, I like hollandaise. There's a little bit of a treat there, I suppose, isn't it?
Yeah, but on your eggs for breakfast. No, it's too rich. But that's my opinion.
I suppose it's because you're used to good quality eggs and cooking them well, so they're runny and stuff like
Just
that. But I think,
scramble an egg with just a bit of butter.
I mean, cooking, just again, but learning how to cook stuff properly, like learning how to cook proper scrambled eggs slowly.
Yeah.
With real butter in it and
Exactly.
seasoning it nice.
I always
afterwards.
burn the butter. I always take it to noisette. So it's a bit nutty.
Talk to me. Tell me.
Well,
I need
like
to-
a burnt noisette, you know.
No, tell me about it.
When you warm butter up,
Yep.
and as it continues to cook, the fat solids caramelise, and it turns it into like a.
But you're not burning it.
No, that's beurre noir, but beurre noisette is like a brown butter. So I just caramelise my butter a bit before I add my eggs, and then scramble them in that, and just adds a nice nuttiness.
Okay.
Yeah, so salt, pepper, beurre noisette, that's it. Sometimes don't even have toast, just a plate of that.
Ugh, delish. But this
Just,
is
but
it,
I
though,
always
isn't it?
don't really scramble that much. I tend to fold it, so it's kind of like
Yeah,
in between
yeah,
an
yeah.
omelette and scrambled.
No, I'm a big
I don't
fan of
like
that.
it over.
Would you use a nice little non-stick pan and just give it a little flick? Fold it like that?
No. I would use like a saucepan, like a stainless steel saucepan, and just do it with a nice
How'd you get it to not stick? Just loads of butter.
the butter.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just loads of butter.
Just yeah.
But this is it. It's like take it to basics. Get a better, rather than fucking about. Get good eggs, and get good bread, nice butter.
And that's it.
I know, but everyone's thinking like, I need to learn how to make a Moroccan harissa paste. Da, 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 da. It's like, guys, chill out.
You can probably buy a nice one of these.
You can.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan
Do
of
you sell those?
No, you don't. Maybe we should. I'm a big fan of sort of like now of like getting the basics right. You know,
Exactly.
I went for dinner last night and it was Sexy Fish, which is like a
how
bit
is
of a
it?
party bar. Like,
Yeah.
well, my mate's
it's-
taken over as executive chef there.
It's a
and
concept.
It's a
isn't it?
concept, but it could be fantastic, right?
Well, the thing
and
is,
they
right-
have got the ambition to make it right. But anyway, and I'm actually looking forward to working with them on it, to be honest, because I want that sort of thing to be actually good rather than
It's
just
a big site, right?
yeah. I want it to be really good rather than just sort of like something that's glamorous. It wants to be actually good as well. There's
Yeah.
nothing wrong with that then. But they had edamame beans, right?
Yeah.
And they were fucking delicious.
Yeah.
But they didn't funny about with them with a weird sauce or anything. They were just really fresh and steamed nicely, and
healthy.
they got a nice kosher salt on them.
Yeah.
That was just
Perfect.
really well, and it was just like to me that's the basics done well is the thing I remember the most.
And the thing about sexy fish, a lot of people turn their nose up about it.
Yeah.
But for me, like, there's plenty of people out there with their opinions and they know what they like. I know what I like as well.
Yeah.
But for me, I feel like I need to respect everything as well. Well, if you walk into a kebab shop on the high street, the guy stood behind
It's a
that
different thing, isn't it?
counter has a story. He's there for a reason, and he probably cares. So you know, the concept of sexy fish is a concept, and I'd love to go and understand that concept
Yeah.
and appreciate it.
I want
might
to see.
not
I want
go
to see
back.
that without the cynicism, essentially.
Exactly.
And I think that
You
certainly,
need to be open-minded.
certainly now, I haven't really studied it before now, but certainly now that my mate's there, the ambition is to take, you know, any sort of cynicism you might have about places like that away and go, okay, well, let's think if you've got a
That's
big,
what you had to do with me.
if you've got a budget, you know what I mean? Yeah, exactly. Take the cynicism away. But if you've got a big budget and you've got a lot of people who care, what could you do?
Yeah.
And then you think, oh, it could be fucking pretty good,
Yeah,
actually.
yeah.
So, you know,
Sometimes
tie up
the
some-
big budgets kill it. You know. Sometimes a bit of restriction, and a bit of like, how are we going to get this done? Incites creativity.
No, you're right, actually.
Do you know what I mean? I find that.
Yes, you're right. But there's also bandwidth of survival, isn't there?
Yeah.
Where you're like going, okay, we're gonna have to cut some corners here just to pay the bills. That's the
100%.
flip side.
Yeah, 100%.
You want to be able
Don't
to.
always work out. Oh, we got creative and it was shit.
Yeah. Basically, what got created by paying people a lot less.
yeah.
That was my concept. Didn't turn out so good.
guess it was.
Didn't turn out so good. So, should we talk about the little trip we did? Because, like,
Yeah.
So
I mean, it's fantastic.
I was basically batting Josh off because I thought he was full of shit, which turned out to be complete not true.
And I just jumped
no,
on your trip.
I didn't think you were full of shit. But I was like going, oh, I can't be bothered because it's not going to be as good as it is. But like, I blew my mind up.
It
just blew my mind.
Just,
like,
I
can't tell
just
you.
sells local ingredient. He just cooks local ingredients. He's not going to buy any of my stuff anyway.
Yeah, that's
I
true.
do buy a
was
little.
thinking,
I do buy a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, but you know, it is what it is. But yeah, anyway, so you, me, Pete, and Gaz, we went to a bit of a tour around. Well, a lot of a tour around. Fucking insane, wasn't it? It was class.
It was busy, wasn't it? Were there 5 locations?
We did Tokyo.
Yeah.
We did
Nagoya.
We did Mie, which is a separate area, which is a Suzuka circuit, the racetrack. We went to Kobe and went to Shizuoka as well.
Yeah, Shizuoka,
which is where Mount Fuji is.
Yeah.
Wild.
It was amazing.
It was
Always
intense,
wanted
though.
to go. And again, for me, it's just absorbing other cultures. So educational, so inspirational, and being with you guys and just talking about food all day long.
Isn't it interesting that like a lot of people, they've got the job and then they've got what they really want to do. But if you're all in, like we are, you're happier, I think.
Yeah, 100%.
Just it's not like, oh, I wish I could do
It's
what
not
I
like
want
going
to
to
do.
work, is it? Everyone's like, on a work trip then. I was like, I want a work trip. Well, it kind of is a work trip, but it wasn't.
The thing is, like, if we were there, we could have been talking about football or we could have been talking about something
Yeah,
else, but we
exactly.
weren't really.
Just
We were
talking
talking
about
about food.
I'm still.
We must be so
I'm sat on
boring.
the train still working.
We must be so boring to people who are not interested in food.
I tell you
Fuck
what's
'em.
even
off.
I tell you what's even worse is when you go with your mates and they all talk about football and I'm not interested in football.
Oh my God.
And I'm just sat there on my own thinking
That's
about
Britain
food.
in a nutshell, isn't it?
Yeah.
Everywhere I go, I don't even tell them I'm from Sheffield because no one knows where Sheffield is these days, unfortunately.
Yeah, they do.
They don't, not in flipping like Malaysia or something. I just say Manchester and they
Oh,
go
right.
like, oh, you love Manchester United or Manchester City? I'm like, I do not give a shit.
No, not me.
And it absolutely blows the mind that English people are not interested in football. But like, you've got to be all in on something. And I think that, you know, we're all in on food within our little sort of like niche.
Yeah.
So mine is obviously like, mine's similar goals to yours because I want to just improve British culture and improve British people's life. And the only way I can do it is by getting research from my specialism, and I've got my little company that pays for it. You've got the same goals, but from a completely different angle.
Yeah, 100%.
But there's an alignment there, which is why we can have a conversation and we get on and all the rest of it. But we're all part of this positive network of people in Britain who are trying to make Britain better. Not just Britain better at the cost of anybody else, it's additive.
Yeah.
And that's really important, because especially in the world we're in at the moment, where everyone's fucking each other over. And it's like...
Don't even go there.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
it's
I know.
insane. It's
I'm
insane.
on it all the time. I'm watching it and
Yeah,
looking
you can
at
send
it,
yourself a
thinking
bit
about it.
crazy with watching it. Though.
Yeah,
You've got to be aware.
Yeah,
I mean, I was in Tokyo last week, and one of the buyers is Ukrainian from Kiev.
Yeah.
Now, so she had to get the train from Kiev to Poland, and fly to Tokyo. I mean, and we had to go over the fucking North Pole when we went, and I had to go over the North Pole again. She's got to fly around the fucking Russians.
Yeah.
Fucking crazy.
I know.
So like, it's ridiculous, but it is what it is. But anyway, so you just need to individually just be working on positivity of yourself, your friends, family, and everyone around you.
Yeah, and you need to have that. Going back to that constellation, I think it's constellation management. Is that you try and do a good job. You look after you do what you do with your circle, and if your circle's your family, immediate family, and that's what you can do, that's fair enough.
Yep.
But if you can make it a bit bigger, then make it a bit
Do you know
bigger.
what the start of
You
your
can
circle
help,
is?
You can help other people, and then you want those circles to intersect with other people, and then
But
it just spreads.
if you can't get the beginning of the circle right, which is yourself,
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely.
then you've got to work on yourself.
Yeah.
Don't feel selfish about going, I'm not a liability on other people. You know,
Yeah.
and then you help everyone around you. It's like these people who are criticising society, criticising the government, criticising this, that, and the other. It's like, have you got your house in order?
Yeah.
It's like, and I think a big way of thinking about that is like when you're on an aeroplane and they say, make sure you put your oxygen mask on before helping others.
Yeah.
And that is an analogy for like going, don't be a fucking burden on everybody else.
Yeah.
Because you're a nightmare. You can't help that guy there if you're in a mess.
No.
And
But
then-
some people can try.
Yeah, but then they're going to die.
You got to balance it.
You've got to balance it.
You've got to
You've got to start by sorting yourself out.
Yeah, of course.
And that's not selfish.
You
That's
need to make
like
yourself balanced.
you're taking yourself out of the equation of being a problem
Yeah.
for somebody else. Don't be a liability.
Yeah.
And then help everybody else.
Yeah.
And if you can, like you do, which is your circle's really big. In fact, out of anyone I know, your circle's probably the biggest.
I know, but then sometimes I worry I'm like, am I neglecting the middle bit? You know?
Yeah, and that's why
you got to be mindful of everything, haven't you? So
Yeah, it's balance,
the
innit?
bigger it gets, you got to make sure that you're not dropping things along the way.
But it's been, so, you know, like, really glad that I met you. Really glad I got time to spend some time with you. And like, you're really inspirational for me. And I love you. And
Oh, that's nice.
yeah. And let's go and have some fun.
Yeah, we're going to have some food. Where are we going? We're going to...
The Kenny.
We're going to the Kenny. The Kensington Arms. We affectionately call it the Kenny. You're like, where?
One of his many, many restaurants.
Wow. It's a pub in Bristol. It's a gastro pub. Let's call it a gastro pub. I know nobody calls them that anymore, but really...
It's a pub with good food.
Yeah, it's like a London pub, actually. Like on the corner in a nice road in Redland. It's got some private dining rooms on the top. It's a chop house, so we cook all these chops over a wood grill.
Wow.
It's got a proper bar in it, proper pints.
It sounds class, doesn't
Good
it?
boozer, sort of a brasserie, bistro style vibe.
Yeah.
It's been in our big group for about 8 years.
Is it?
Yeah. So, but first we're going to go to the Pelican down the road.
Oh yeah, so
that's
so
our
you
latest venture.
You just opened that quite recently, haven't you?
Yeah, we opened in November, and it's the pub in the village. It's the closest one to the Pony. The main objective is look at this beautiful restaurant. But what I want to do now, what I'm working on, I'm not going to call it this, but this is the way I'm describing it. I'm kind of like Chew Valley tourism. We're in the beautiful Chew Valley, okay?
Yep.
We want people to come and stay with us.
Yeah. Create a bit
So
of
we
an
need some rooms,
ecosystem.
right? So we have the restaurant, we have the cookery school, we do afternoon tea. You can go to Salt and Malt on Chew Valley Lake just here and have a shellfish platter.
Which
or
is the
just,
chippy.
Or just fish and chips.
Yeah.
We're going to do bike hire. Anyway, so the Pelican is a proper village pub on the ground floor. The brief on the design that I did with Emily, our designer, was like Dublin bar vibes, cosy, warm, log fires. And we've nailed that.
Yeah.
Got an artisan pizza kitchen in there. It's packed full of all the locals. And then next month...
That's a good sign.
Yeah. And then next month so the ground floor's open since November. Next month we start the rooms, and we're building 8 rooms, 8 really lovely rooms. And you can come to Chew Valley and stay. And I want to bring you up here to the Pony, Sunday lunch. If you want to go to Bristol, we've got our restaurants. If you want to go to Wells, we've got our restaurants. Bath, by the end of the year. And, so come and see
It sounds
the
great, doesn't it?
Southwest.
Because it sort of sells itself as like a trip. Because like a lot of places that are far away, there's only one place. And you need, like Gaz has done that, hasn't he? He's got Gwen now.
I mean,
so it's like a bit
pilgrimage, isn't it?
It's a pilgrimage, but the thing is, if you're at the very top of the tree, then you can make the case for the pilgrimage. But like, if you're creating like just something quality, you've got to put all that ecosystem. I think Paul Ainsworth's good at it, isn't he, with what he's doing with Padstow.
Fantastic.
There's a good example of that,
A big inspiration. Again, I'm looking at these guys,
Quality,
what they're doing,
yeah.
the quality they're delivering, and think, they are making their business work. And I'm always thinking about it. I need to.
There's no cynicism either, is there?
No. I need to get this restaurant busy on a Wednesday, Thursday night. And I tell you what, it is not. Since the pandemic and since reopening, we're busy on the weekends. We've got fantastic Sunday lunch. The weddings are going really well. Cookery school, but the actual restaurant is, it's not that busy enough. So what's my solution? Innovate. Let's get the rooms. We've always wanted to do that and put the packages together.
But this is also a flagship, isn't it?
Yes.
So if you've got this ecosystem of businesses, you need a flagship.
Yeah.
And it doesn't necessarily, a lot of these places don't make loads of money, the flagships, but they make the money off the other things.
Yeah.
So if you can always, and it's got to be, the staff have got to have something to look up to as well.
Exactly.
You know, like,
we do deliver a lot of the training here, but you know, this place is never going anywhere. What we've done here, I mean, actually, I just realised we're 19 years old today.
congratulations.
Okay, so in 20 years in 1 year.
Wow. We're 18 years old this year.
Yeah. And
So similar age.
we're not going anywhere. All the other businesses, the restaurants and stuff, that might change. And
Do you know what I've thought to
but
myself
this
many
one,
times?
I want to keep it.
How many of my customers are still open that I started with or that I found along the way? And it's like, why is our industry such a burning through resources, burning through ideas, burning through money industry? Why?
Why? Oof, that's a tough question. Why? Because
It's not one answer, is it? But it's not right.
no. The problem is that there is a lot of lack, and I tried to work on this a bit with a bit of time. I was, last year, before Labour got in, I was up talking to Angela Rayner, and I went to the House of Lords, and it was like, we need a Minister for Hospitality. We don't have one. We're the third largest employer in the country, and our industry is completely transient. And the problem, I think one of the fundamental problems is that it is a fun trade, and people look at it from the outside and go, "Oh, I'd love to do that. I'd love to run a pub. I'd love to run a restaurant," which is fine. And that, and some people do it, and they might not, they might fail, but other people are extremely successful with it. The success rate is lower, but for every restaurant that closes, there's a queue of people that will go, I'll tell you what, I'm gonna have a go at that now. I'll buy that lease, and we've got to do it up, so we'll get an electrician in, and maybe we'll spend some money on some new furniture, and they're pumped by doing that. They're fueling the economy, right? So they're making things work. So from the government's perspective, they're probably looking at it going, well, you know what?
But they're taking capital, which is just sat there, and yes, they're investing it, but they're burning it. Like when you see these pubs for let, and you say, this landlord could be you, and I'm thinking, that's a fucking trap. That.
I know. It is. Well, yeah, you're right. But the money goes somewhere, so they will burn through it.
Yeah.
They'll come in with their life savings in a pipe dream, yeah, and they'll either make it work, or the landlord or the brewery or whoever owns that pub will have that money, and that will go back into the system. But somebody always loses. That's the negative of capitalism. That's why I don't believe in it. It doesn't work.
That's a longer conversation. That's round two.
Yeah, that's round two. I think about that all the time, and I probably read far too many books on it now. I've moved on from cookery books. Now it's like, right, how can we sort these problems out?
I must admit, apart from cat videos, my Instagram doesn't have much food on it. Although, obviously, I'm just putting loads of content about food and stuff like that. But, I've seen a lot of, nicely lit dishes on Instagram, and I've kind of seen them all now.
Yeah.
And now I'm on to, watching Macho Man Randy Savage and stuff like that.
I don't even know what that is.
I'll educate you. Yeah. Right, man, let's go and have some food.
Thanks.
Take it easy.
Thanks, all right?
Yeah, it's good. It's all right.
You cut it. Forks like a podcaster with Sushi Stu.